I can't crowd the babies in the bed. So, hallelujah for Yahusha. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahuwah by Hashem Yahusha this day. Let's get this John 5:39. Now, pay Mari no mind. He doesn't like to listen. John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Shalom, man. So Proverbs 14:1, we still on that roll. We still continuing. Still going to make it happen. Well, every wise woman builds her house, and every foolish woman plucketh it down. Because that page is in here somewhere. So, we've been swinging through Ezekiel 40 and looking at what we can look at and deciphering what we can decipher. So we'll continue back there in Ezekiel chapter 40. Where did we stop at? We stopped at about verse 46. But I want to reiterate and come back over to 39, just to reiterate some things that were mentioned in verses 39. Give me a moment. I just want to get the word for table. I think we went through that word for table. But remember, that word for table was shulchan, and it was of the king's table, and it was used for sacred usage and private use. And the thing, you have to show Shan, Lamad, Ka, and Noon. I think I did mention something with that. So you sit back and you look at how you can look at it and see how the teachings consume and separate to life. Or you can sit back and look at how the shepherd, you paired to the shepherd and separated to life. And I mentioned all this just because John chapter 10 and verse 25. We'll look at how the shepherd's teaching consumes and separates to life also. And I know that we mentioned those things about the burnt offering, the sin offering, and the trespass offering. And the reason why I mention these things is because we're going to look at Zadok and we're going to look at his sons because they're mentioned here. And since they're mentioned in this chapter, I don't know how many of you are familiar with him. Clearly, if you know that Zadok is of the house of Aaron. So we have to make sure that you know who he is, how he's relevant, and also certain aspects dealing with his sons so that you just have a complete understanding of certain things. So let's go over here to John chapter 10, verse 25. I'll make it 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter. And this is John chapter 10, verse 22. Yahusha walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Yahudim round about him and said unto him, how long do you make us to doubt? If you be Hamashiach, tell us plainly. So pause. They say, how long will you make us to doubt? I want you to hold this. I want you to come to Isaiah 53 and 1. We're going to read something here just to bring something back to your remembrance. Matter of fact, before I read Isaiah 53 and 1, you don't have to grab it, but I'll tell you where it's located at. I'm going to grab something in 2 Peter I think it's here in chapter 3. Yeah. Verse 1 real quick. The second epistle, beloved, I write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that you may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the Kadash prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. So sometimes your pure mind's got to be stirred up, that you be mindful of what the prophets have already stated. Sometimes you can forget. You know, a matter of fact, I had ran across in my memory this verse. I'll read it to you as well. This is in Hosea chapter 13. Hosea 13, right? I'll pick it up in verse 1. You can swing around that. I'll give you a moment. Hosea 13 and 1. I'll give you a moment to get around that car. Hosea 13 and 1. I'll give you a moment to get around. Hosea 13 and 1. He say, when Ephraim spake trembling, he exalted himself in Yasharal, and when he offended in Baal, he died. Now, it's been a long time. Hold Isaiah 53 and John chapter 10. It's been a long time since we dealt with this verse. But again, we're stirring up your minds. Now, we're going to look at Ephraim spake by trembling. If you remember in the text, okay, the definition of Ephraim is he shall be doubly fruitful. But I want you to swing to Genesis 48 so you can see also how the text defines his name. Based off action, based off how he was born. So you can see that and understand that as well. Because there's a particular word left out with that double fruit. Genesis chapter 48. Make sure I'm in the right spot. I think I'm in the wrong spot. I'm in the wrong spot. Genesis 41, that's what it is. Way off the mark. Genesis 41. We'll pick it up at verse 48. Genesis 41 and 48. He gathered up all the food of the 7 years which are in the land of Mizraim, and he laid up the food of the cities. The food of the field which was round about every city laid he up in the same. Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much until he left numbering, for it was without number. So we're going to pause that, and I'm going to read it to you again. He said he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Mizraim, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in the same. And Joseph gathered the corn as the sand of the sea, very much until he left numbering, for it was without number. So something sort of automatically, because we're talking about stirring up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Something automatically stirred in your mind the moment you heard this. Verses 48 and 49, first and foremost, gathered up all the food. That should take you to Malachi chapter 3, where he say, gather up their meat so there might be meat in my storehouse. When he tells you about how he went through, which were in the land of Egypt, and he laid up in the food, the cities, the food of the field, which is round about every city, laid he up the same. So let's go to Matthew 13 real fast. No, it's Matthew 13. I mentioned that. Let's get that Malachi while we at it. That's what I'm thinking about. Let's get this Malachi while we at it. Let's get this Malachi 3 first. 3 and 7. Malachi 3 and 7. We say, even from the days of your fathers, you have gone away from my ordinances and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith Yahuwah of hosts. But you said, wherein shall we return? So these people been bucking. He said, you've been bucking since the time of your fathers. You ain't did nothing I told you to do. But he said, if you come back to me, I will return unto you. This is one of the reasons that Yahushua led off his preaching with repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. If you come back to Yahuwah, Yahuwah will certainly return unto you, because he is not a liar. Most people are liars. So you can't expect Yahuwah to return to you when you haven't fully turned to him. You know, a lot of individuals look at, what's the verse that I'm thinking about? It's in the Epistle of James, of being double-minded, so you don't receive anything of the Lord, because you're not see, when you're double-minded, you don't know which way you want to go, and that's from a lack of confidence. You don't really have a strong confidence in Yahuwah, so that's why you waver. It's the same token, like you should already know, like what Elijah said to the people. How long will you halt between two opinions? You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I just want to see what the word for opinion is used in that verse, since I'm thinking about it. He said, you know, how long will you halt between two opinions? And that seems what a lot of people's problem is in regard to their faith. They halt between two opinions. Of course, in that context of that particular passage, you know, he was dealing with the people were worshiping Baal. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking right in the chat and missing the verse. I have 9% this time. There we go. The word for opinions there is sa'ef, and it's ambivalence and division and a divided opinion. So what it means, and you have a samak, you have a ayin, you have a pay, you have a hay. So when you look at that, let's look at all the definitions of samak and see which one that we would prefer to use. Yeah, I mean, cause I just want to see all of them. So you have a thorn and support to protect, to turn, sharp, piercing, seal, grab, hold, and pin it. So, you know, and we'll look at it because it's an ambivalence or a divided opinion. And I'm of the inclination to use thorn, only because that I would have under the inclination to view with experience. Well, really to say that Yahusha is the thorn, which will cause you to know the word or know the commands, because a thorn is to see if you will keep the word or not. And I'm just thinking about that in the means of the book of Judges, because there was a divided opinion among the people. You wanted to be amongst these people and fool with them. So he said, I'm going to keep these people as a thorn in your side to see if you'll do the word or not. And again, instead of ambivalence or divided opinion, that same thing is stated in Hosea 11, how the people were divided. Same token that is mentioned in the book of John about the people being divided because of the Lord. And the Lord could sit back and he brings that thorn or division. And it makes me think about what's in the book of Matthew in the 10th chapter, in the 34th verse, where he said, do not think that I came to bring peace, but a sword. Well, why would he say that he came to bring a sword and to set men at variance? Because it says that the word Elohim is sharper than a two-edged sword. It divides asunder to the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Because the truth is not a uniter. See, when you sit back and you look at it and you pay attention to the word and you actually pay attention to any course of human history, even if somebody was dealing with somebody in a carnal aspect, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be something just scriptural. If you speak the truth does not bring people together. It has never have in the annals of human history. Anyone who has spoken the truth has caused division, because the truth exposes, as the word says, what the word will do is the thoughts and intents of the heart. But even if you're dealing with things on a natural level, when truth is exposed, it exposes that. Remember, we was talking about that in regards to when people say the truth, people get offended. No one's ever been offended about a lie. So when you look at that, and of course you've seen that if you read the continuation of 1 Kings chapter 18, Elijah uses a sword to cut up the prophets of Baal. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. Let's just continue. So let's go back to Malachi chapter 3. Verse 8, because it said the people say, how are we going to return? He says, will a man rob Elohim? Yet you have robbed me, but you have said, where have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. So many of you who've been to church, you've said, some of you, that this was a verse that pastors use to get money up out of you. Now, you do have to know that in the complete and utter, one of the first things that Malachi is written to is to the priest. But in verse 7, he go to speaking about the people. Now, of course, according to the text, that the priests were the ones who received the tithes because Yahuwah was their inheritance. Well, now, when we come to be one with Yahusha, it's the same token because you become a Levite and Yahuwah is your inheritance. And a lot of people still to this day get caught up with tithes, and there's many different tithes in the text and many different things, but that's neither here nor there because we're not concerned with that. That's just for you to know what the text say. When you look at the word for rob, it is kavah, and it is a kuf, a bat, and an ayin. And it's just that you get to know that last Adam. Well, how do you get to know that last Adam? Was that last Adam robbed? Because look what he said, right? He said, will a man rob Elohim, yet you rob me? He said, where have you robbed me? But in tithes and offerings. So let's just look at the word for tithes in this particular chapter. And again, this will take us back to what we was looking at, the offerings in the previous chapter. Now you got to offer tithes here. Masar. It's a tithe. It's a 10th part. Payment of the 10th part. You got Meme, you got Ayin, you got Shana, you got Rosh. So we look at that. What can we gather from this word here? Well, since we got Rosh, we're going to see we're either going to say Yahusha or Yahuwah. Shalom, look up. You got Sean here, so you're either going to pair or you're going to be consumed. You got Ayin, so you're going to know, and you got this blood or you got this water. For me, sir, which one would you recommend? Would you recommend blood or would you recommend water?
And that's for the marathon?
This is for this is for tithes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with the blood.
Blood it is. Because the blood would be a tithe, it would be a payment. He gave a part of his body. So let's take a look at this. We got Ayin, so we're going to say we're going to know. Maybe you experienced. Who knows? But when we get to that Sean, if we're going to take this blood, then we're going to go ahead and say that this person's been consumed. So now we see that we know that Yahusha was consumed by blood. Why was he consumed by blood? Because he was consumed by the people's sin. And what does that take us back to? That takes us back to Cain and Abel. Because what got Abel consumed? His offering. Let's take a look and see. Because he said, will a man rob Elohim? And we're going to look and see, did Abel rob Elohim? And because he robbed Elohim, because he said, since you robbed Elohim, you're what? Cursed with a curse. That's what it said, right? So we have to sit back and look at, did they rob Elohim? And if they robbed Elohim, then these people are cursed with a curse. But let's go to Genesis chapter 4. Genesis 4:1, and then we talking about bringing stuff here, remember, we might as well. Hosea chapter 6, after that. Blasted. And Adam knew Eve and his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and I've gotten a man from Yahuwah. And again, she bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. In the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought the fruit of the ground and offered unto Yahuwah. Abel, he also brought the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahuwah had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Excuse me. Now, I ask you this question, see if you're aware. When you made a tithe, did you have to bring your best, or could you just bring Yahuwah anything? So you had to bring, when you made a tithe, you had to bring the firstlings, did you not? That's what the law said. You can look that up for yourself. I'm not going through all that right now because we've done that in the past. And tonight is not the night to rehash that. So go look it up. And tithes covered many different things. You could take your animal that you were going to tithe. And if you wanted to keep it, you could pay redemption money and it would be turned to money. And you gave money to the priest. Does not the law say that, sir? Because a lot of people say the tithes is not money. That is not accurate according to Torah. It was not relegated to animals and crops because there was provisions that you will put in the text that if you didn't want to give your animal, he said, that's fine. That's not a problem. But you got to take it to the priest, and the priest has to evaluate the equitable value for that livestock, and that was converted into money, and you kept your livestock, and you gave that money to the priest. Read the book of Leviticus. It's there towards the end. I can't recall how many chapters it's in, but what is it, about 29, 28, somewhere in there? Let me find the exact chapter. I'll tell you yourself. You go read it for yourself in your own time. 27. Just go read chapter. I'm looking at it right now. And the estimations. Go look at it for yourself. I'm looking at verse 26 right now. Only the firstlings of the beasts, which should be Yahuwah's firstling. No man shall sanctify, whether it be ox or sheep. And you can also do that in the year of Jubilee, and all your estimations shall be according to a shekel of the sanctuary. 20 gerahs shall be the shekel. Yeah, all of these things, but a lot of people skip over that. But I understand why people do it. I don't come from the church system, so I can understand why dudes be like, I ain't giving nigga none of my money. Do you know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand it. Nevertheless, Hebrews 11, and then Hosea 6. Hebrews 11 and 4. By faith, Abel offered unto Elohim a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained a witness that he was righteous, Elohim testifying of his gifts, and by it, he being dead, yet speak. That's why we use that blood, because you got to know Yahusha by that blood. That blood spoke to you. Remember, it makes mention in the book of Jeremiah 51 and rehashed in the book of Revelation in the 18th chapter that he would avenge all his saints and apostles that have been slain on the earth because their blood cries out to him. Because it said that in the text. In Genesis 4, we didn't read it, that Abel's blood cried out to Yahuwah. So therefore the highest knew that blood. You can sit back and look at that and take that Rosh and make it to the highest. And say the highest knew the consumption of the blood. He knew it. Did he not? And what it said, he knew. He knew you consumed his son. He knew you robbed him. He said, will a man rob Elohim? He said, you done robbed me and you cursed with a curse. So let's look at Hosea chapter 6 and let's see if these men done robbed and how they got cursed with a curse. And how if you go against Mashiach, you ain't no different. You that foolish woman plucking down your house. Just plucking it down. Just plugging it down. Don't plug it down. Hosea 6 and 4. I read verse 4. We still got Hosea 13, John chapter 10, Genesis 41, Matthew 13, and Ezekiel chapter 40.
Oh, man.
6 and 4. O Ephraim, what shall I do unto you? O Yehuda, what shall I do unto you? For your goodness is as a morning cloud, and the early dew would go away. Therefore I have hewed them by the prophets, and I have slain them by the words of my mouth. Your judgments are as the light that go forth. For I desire not sacrifice and the knowledge of Elohim more than burnt offerings. But they like men have transgressed the covenant. There have they dealt treacherously against me. Gilead is a city of them that work iniquity and is polluted with blood. And as a troop of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, for they commit lewdness. So he said, as a troop of robbers. Now, we went over this before. Again, we're just stirring up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that you might remember what the prophets have said. Now, he said that these men have robbed as a troop of robbers. He said, now what did Yahushua say? They were coming at him like as he was a thief, as if he was robbing Elohim, because they felt like that Yahushua was robbing Elohim, because they felt like he was robbing Elohim of esteem. Whole time they wanted to steal. No, we don't have to read the parts in the gospel. You know that they consented with Judas, and they started to band the men like robbers and consented with him to slay him. And you know full well that when Pilate was determined to let Yahushua go, that they say, let that curse be on our children's children. All of you know this. So you say they robbed Elohim, they got cursed with a curse. Now, when you look at how am I robbing Elohim of a tithe? Because see, we going past just dropping some money and an offering. You know what I'm saying? And that's neither here nor there. Because you could go read this in Isaiah chapter 6 by the 10th. Let's go read it in Isaiah chapter 6 by the 10th. It's been a long time since we looked at it. Maybe about a good 4 or 5 years. It's the last verse of the 6th chapter of the book of Isaiah. But we'll read verse 12. It says, Yahuwah have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. So y'all already know that. People talk about that great falling away. Everybody gets a little preempted about it's that great falling away. People falling away from the truth. You're stupid if you think they're falling away from being, because the falling away is you falling away from the faith. And the faith is not you being an Israelite. That's not the faith. People turning their back on Yahuwah. See, a lot of people think a lot of people falling away. They never believed on Yahuwah to begin with. To begin with. And that's what a lot of brothers, he done lost his faith. You can't lose something you never possessed. You can't lose something you never possessed. You thought people had faith, but many of them did not. Many of them were just in this because, we Israel, we this, that. They didn't care nothing about Yahuwah. They didn't care about his salvation. That's not what they were in this for. They had other means and things that they desired and why they were doing it. So, like the book said that in the 13th chapter of Matthew, because they had no root in themselves, when persecution and tribulation arise because of the word, they are offended and they depart. Because everyone is not rooted. That's why I say every tree that my heavenly Father have not planted shall be rooted up. So why you read in Daniel, when he cut the tree down, what was left? You know what was left? The root, the stump. The stump was left. You know what I'm saying? You see, most people cut down a tree. You got to bring somebody, you got to get a big, nice, hardy machine to grind up a stump to get it out of the way. Because what's going to happen if you don't grind up the stump? The tree might grow back. It might spring back. Well, a lot of people, they don't grow back because they never had no root. They were never in the ground. As it says in Kings, you got to take root downward to bear fruit upward. If you're not rooted in the death and resurrection of Yahushua, then there's not going to be no fruit going to be manifested according to the scriptures. You're not going to manifest the fruits of the Ruach. You're never going to receive the Ruach. You're not going to inherit everlasting life. You weren't rooted in it. Knowing you Israel is not enough root. It ain't no root at all. The law ain't no root. You have to be rooted in the faith, because when persecution and tribulation arise, you won't be moved. Individuals are swayed and moved when these things arise because you had no root. Sadly, worried about the wrong things. Nevertheless, he said, but it's yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return and shall be eaten as a teal tree and as an oak, whose substance is in them. And when they cast their leaves, so the Kadash seed shall be the substance thereof. You know, what is that telling you? Abide in you. I am the vine. You are the branches. Abide in me. You'll bring forth much fruit. But he says there's going to be a tenth there. So that tenth, that is a tithe. I don't think it's the same word used there, but I can look for you though. We got Isaiah 53 too. We got to put all this together. I got to move a little swifter, don't I? Because I'm just stacking stuff on top of stuff. Now the word for tenth here is a little different. It's just tenth. The word is Asaray, Ayin, Shan, Yod, Rosh, and Yod. Nevertheless, back to Malachi chapter 3. We are in verse 8. Our offerings is the words you should be familiar with. Terma. We just talked about that the other day. He said, bring you all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith Yahuwah of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall be no room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith Yahuwah of hosts, and the nation shall call you blessed, and you shall have a delightsome land, saith Yahuwah. No, we didn't talk about that. If he open up heaven, pour you out a blessing, he's going to pour you out that ruach. Well, who's that devourer? Well, that devourer is the adversary. It takes you to 1 John chapter 5, about verse 17, that he that is born of Elohim sin not, and the wicked one touch him not, because he wouldn't be able to devour nor destroy your fruit. He can't touch you. See, a lot of people give Satan way too much credit, and we didn't talk about that before. We know that Yahuwah allowed him to do that to Job. Yahuwah allowed, he's just an adversary. And I've told you what type of adversary he is in the past, and I'll bring it up again. He's an accuser and he's an adversary. That's what he is, and that's what he does. And he's a tempter. So he's going to tempt you with something. And then when you do it, he's going to run back and accuse you and say, look, I told you that nigga would do it. That's what type of buster he is. This is why Paul told you that we are not ignorant of his devices. We're not ignorant of his plot, plans, and inventions. And I've told you this before, and I'll tell you again. Anybody, the adversary can use anyone who is not connected to Yahuwah. Period. Anyone. Doesn't matter who it is. Your mammy, your grandpappy, you know what I'm talking about, your grandmammy, your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, your best friends, your co-workers. Any one of them can be used. So you have to remember, Peter hadn't received a ruach yet. That's why Yahushua said, get behind me, Satan. He was being an adversary because he savored the things that be a man and not the things that be of Elohim. This is why anyone who is not connected to Yahuwah can be an adversary, because they savor the things that are of man. And you have to understand that and know that. And if you walk around like a dummy and a jackass and an ostrich with your head in the ground and not able to see that anyone can be used by the adversary who is not connected to Yahuwah, then you deserve whatever you get for fooling with them, because that's your own foolishness. That's you being unwise and not being circumspect in your dealings. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You can't lay that at Yahuwah's feet. Indeed it is, Lord, because indeed it is. You can't lay that at Yahuwah's feet. That's just understanding. You have to know that. If they're carnal, then he can use them, because he's going to use them to tempt you, or he's going to use them as a means to accuse you. That's what the book tells you, that the devil sits back and he accuses the brethren day and night. And that's all he did to Job, was accuse. If you do this to him, he'll curse you to your face. What did he do with David? Tempting him. What did he do with the Lord? Tempting. That's what he do. So if you have wisdom and you have discernment, then you can peep that play. And see, when you have wisdom and discernment and understanding, you're going to put to the side, that's your family and friends. That's not going to move you. You're not going to be concerned with that. See, like my little cousin just said, that's a heavy pill to swallow, because you don't want to believe that the devil could use your mom. They could use your best friend. That he could use your grandmama. Why would you not believe that and you say you trust in Yahuwah? That's just foolishness. That's just folly. That's being unwise. And that's how he gonna win. Because he gonna use people. You see, Satan can't use people. When you look at who did Satan use to accuse? Job, his 3 best friends. You just ain't finna use no stranger out the blue. It's got to be someone near to you. We done told you this before. You look in the text, and I knew this before the word. If the devil want to get you, he gonna work through your woman, because she's an easy mark, because she's emotional and usually the least discerning of the 2 parties. This is why the book tells you that you're supposed to nurture your wife or help her bring her to maturity, because she's the one who can be easily deceived, because she is going to be gullible. Because she can be moved with the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes very, very easily. Very, very easily. Very easily. You know what I'm saying? So as a man, you have to know that and understand that. Because most women are whimsical by nature. Most women are curious by nature. So they don't want to know things and feel, I want to know this and want to know that. And it get them in trouble. You know what I'm saying? It's a man's job to lead that and moderate that. I mean, it is what it is. But Matthew chapter 13. Oh man. Praise you, Lord, for the day he made watermelon. And then gave the wisdom to somebody to turn it into a juice. 13 and 37. Or 13 and 36. Matthew 13 and 36. We still got Isaiah 53, Ezekiel chapter 40, John chapter 10, Genesis 41, and Hosea chapter 13. Say, then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, he that the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the Malachim. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be at the end of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his Malachim, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend. All things that offend and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 41. I just will grab that there because he sat back and told you how the field is the world. And the good seed are from the sun. And then verse 48, because that's what I want to go to, some of those things should have stuck out. He gathered up all the food of the 7 years. Bring meat into my storehouse, which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up food in the cities, the food of the field. Well, what is the food of the field? Well, the food of the field, he just told you. The wheat is the good seed, or the sons of Elohim, because he the one planted them. So these are the food of the field. So he grabbed them up, which were in the city, and he laid them up. Or he lays them up in the storehouse, or he lays them up in his house, in his temple, in his land. Because that's what we've been looking at. And it's giving you an inkling into this when dealing with Joseph. Because if I'm not mistaken, Joseph had already been declared to be ruler over land of Egypt and to sit in the second chariot. So what is this pointing us to? Yahushua has ascended. Yahushua has created sons of Elohim. These are sons who were not born by flesh, nor by the will of man, but by Elohim. See, niggas could talk to, see, you can't pass down, because if you conform, you transformed and renewed yourself and became a son of Elohim, you can't pass that down to your son. Your son can't inherit that. Because that's not a fleshly thing. You can't pass it down. He has to believe on Elohim and become a son of Elohim all on his own accord. Ain't no bloodline. Ain't no bloodline. Ain't no blood. Let's read that. John chapter 1. Ain't no bloodline of son of Elohim, because it's not by blood, it's by Ruach. See, a lot of brews, they don't want to hear that. That ain't by blood right there, man. That's by Ruach. First John chapter 1. I'm going to say First John. John chapter 1, verse 6. There was a man sent from Elohim whose name was John. The same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which light every man that cometh to the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Elohim, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of Elohim. That's the only way. Elohim has to do it. Your power has to bestow you with that power. And you got to be at that tenth, because when you shed your leaves, then that kadar seed, that substance, still going to be in it. That's why it says his seed remain in him. He cannot sin because he's born of Elohim. Why I tell you that? Because John wasn't telling you nothing but what Isaiah had already told you. Of course, they didn't have an understanding yet of being born of Elohim. You see Joseph gathering up the crop or the fruit of the land and laying it up in the house. The same way that Yahushua is going to do, because you know that he's coming back during when? tabernacles, in gathering, and they call it the first fruits, which would be those who be part of the first resurrection. Gonna gather them up. Come on back to Genesis 40. Yeah, that seed remain. That word get in you. That word gonna remain in you. It's gonna stop you. That's why he said, "I put my laws in their hearts and in their minds that they'll do them." They're in you now. I seen a brother today. This dude put fringes on his shoes. I said, "Well, this nigga here wild, man. This nigga here wild." And that's how corny Bruce is. Fringes on tank tops, fringes on shoes, fringes on hats. It's culture. Use a lane. That's not what he didn't create that for no culture, son. He created that because your heart was hard. So let me put something there so you remember not to go a whoring after your own heart, your own mind. Because I know you'll go after your own desires. Let me put this on here so you'll remember. Didn't work. Straight up. I don't know what kind of shoe. He looked like he put these on some Balenciagas, however you pronounce them ugly behind shoes them niggas be wearing. Niggas be walking around here with doggone sock puppets on their feet, man, and think they fresh. Nigga, them shoes ain't fresh. Nigga got on elevator boots. You know what I'm saying? Think that junk cool because the nigga done put a $600 ticket on it. I don't make that junk fresh because it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? Straight up though. Just because something expensive don't mean it's fresh. If you think something fresh because it's expensive, that means you're a square and easily influenced by what you call them people? By marketers and things of that nature. Or you easily influenced by your, I ain't gonna say your peers, because your peers only want to wear it because they see rappers and actors and all that stuff, so they want it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I need me some of them. Nigga ain't got no investment, but got some doggone shoes on that he ready to kill a nigga for if he get him dirty. You stupid bastard, you. You know what I'm saying? Don't make no sense. Then be mad at the white man talking about they don't give you no opportunities. Well, you took the money you could have had an opportunity to create for yourself. You know what I'm talking about? And spend them on some ugly behind shoes. Just so you can say, I got on some Balenciagas. Nigga, them shoes ugly, nigga. You know what I'm saying? They ugly, cuz. Nigga, them joints is not fresh. But if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Not fresh to me, but you know some stuff ain't fresh to everybody. But nevertheless, though, them some ugly behind shoes. The concept ain't fresh. Doggone shoes look like they, you know, like it look like construction boots. Look like you can step on a nail. That junk ain't gonna do nothing. Nevertheless. Verse 49 of that Genesis 41, right? He said Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea. Not gathering corn. You know, bring meat into my storehouse. Y'all should already know. You heard that sand of the sea. He sat back and told you that Yasharal would be as the sand of the sea. That no man could number until it was left numbering, for it was without number. You know what it said in Revelation 7. I seen a multitude with white robes and palms in their hands, which no man could number. A multitude of people in the house. I don't hate them shoes, but if an individual would just handed you those shoes and didn't tell you the price tag or the name, I feel like 95% of people would be like, nah, I don't like them shoes. I think because they put an Italian or French design house on it, that's why people like them shoes. You know what I'm saying? To be quite honest. Not because, for me, it doesn't matter what the brand is. You know what I'm saying? I either like it or I don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just going to like something because it's expensive. And honestly, looking at all the high-end designers that make sneakers, most of their shoes is ugly. You know what I'm saying? It's only maybe one or two, three at the most of high-end designers that I've seen that make sneakers. They're like, you know what? That's a nice looking shoe. And then these niggas be wanting $6,000 to $2,000 for a sneaker. That's ugly at that. You know what I'm saying? No, man. That's how niggas get got. Like cuz I had showed you with that talking about, oh, they got me. With that, he seen a jacket on wish.com thinking he was fresh. They sent that nigga some doggone fake fox hair and a grandma jacket. But I mean, that just is what it is. Just people dictate. It just be funny to me because When we were just, wasn't nobody thinking about wearing no Gucci shoes or Louis shoes or any of these high-end designers, and people were wearing them shoes then. You know what I'm saying? It's just what he pushed it at. And nigga, one thing about black people like to spend money on depreciating assets and things that cannot produce any income, and will go in debt to acquire things that can't make them any money. You know what I'm saying? And then complain about why they ain't got no money. Because you're an idiot. Because you're an idiot. Because you're a consumer and you like to buy things that can't make you no money. And then complain about how you ain't got no money. When you could have took that and swear you a hustler. That's the part that tripped me out. And swear you a hustler. Spend $600 on some shoes, ain't got no money, talking about you a hustler. You know hustler, you a damn fool. Because you could have took that 600 and made you about 3-4, made that money back 3-4 over. Yeah, definitely didn't care about it 15 years ago. And I think that part of that is social media and this, that, there, and the third. And people get caught up on what other people are doing. And you got a lot of men out here trapped who have female tendencies inside of them, women trapped in male bodies, if you would. You know what I'm saying? And feel the need to compete and keep up with other men. You know what I'm saying? And that junk is gay. But nevertheless, 41 and 50. And I guess the desire to look like everybody else. I never had a desire to look like everybody else. Why do I want to do what everybody else is doing? And why do I want to wear what everyone else is wearing? I'll find something else to wear because I don't want to look like you niggas. Because you niggas is gay. Nevertheless, and not gay in the homosexual sense, because just gay is you niggas lame. And under Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine. Cain, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bare unto him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Elohim have said, he have made me forget all my toil and all my Abba's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim, for Elohim caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So that's what we came to there. Ephraim means to be fruitful in affliction. You know what I'm saying? Straight up though. You know what I mean? But Yahushua was fruitful in affliction, and we can be fruitful in affliction if we just endure. You know what I'm saying? Goes back to what we were talking about with the burnt offering. But let's go back to Hosea chapter 13. That's the one thing about being set apart with Yahuwah. Remember he said, you in the world, but you're not of the world. Like you have to, he called you a peculiar treasure. You have to be cool with being different and being odd and not desiring to do and to be like everyone else. He told you that in Leviticus chapter 20. I've severed you from amongst other people that you could be mine. Like I seen a dude grossly misuse scripture to do so, to justify wearing a wedding ring. Now I'm gonna tell you like this here. Is it a sin if you wear a wedding ring? No, it is not. No, it is not. No one, I don't know if I've never said it, but clearly there are brews out there that tell people, oh, if you wear a wedding ring, you're committing a sin because it's a pagan custom. But look it up for yourself. The custom of wearing a wedding ring comes from ancient Egypt. They put a wedding ring on the quote unquote ring finger because they believed that there was a vein in that finger that led all the way to the heart. And that's why they did it. This man will use in the scripture with Jeremiah, where he said, write this my name with a signet, and use in the scripture story with Judah and Tamar, how he gave her a ring and some bracelets, and say, see, that's a wedding ring. Well, Judah was tricking, sir. Judah was tricking. You do know that Judah was tricking in that, right? Did you know that? Say Judah was tricking. Were you aware of that? Y'all aware that Judah was tricking? Y'all do know in Genesis 38 Judah was tricking. And that man used that for marriage. Grossly out of context. That man was tricking. That was money for butt. This man tricked with his daughter-in-law, didn't even know it. And he didn't even marry this woman, man. Dude tried to use that and say that was for wedding rings. Same thing I was telling, like this here about that before, like before the word. I would never get no need to propose no woman. Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I have pretty much resigned in my head as a jet. I probably ain't gonna get married. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't no way in the world, man. I'm finna get on my knee and ask no woman to marry me. And I'm finna be taking care of her, paying all the bills and buy this here. And I'm getting on, nigga, you must be smoking rocks. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way in the way get on no knees, cuz. I'm not on there. I ain't finna do it. You know what I'm saying? Get on a knee and then give this nigga a ring and ask this nigga, will you marry me so I can take care of you for the rest of your life? I feel like I'm playing myself. Because you want me to spend thousands of dollars on a ring, debase myself by kneeling and bowing before you to ask you for the opportunity to take care of you. Absolutely not. We can have a conversation. Are we going to enter into this treaty and have this business merger or not? Because now what's coming into word, when they bowed down before Peter, Peter told them people, get up. I'm a man as you are, with like passions as you. Get on no knee. I see dude tell your wife to bow down to you. My wife ain't got to bow down to me. Would she be wrong if she did it? No, she wouldn't, because that's a sign of reverence and respect. But I need you to reverence me with your behavior. I don't need you to get on no knee. Why? Because I'm a man just like you are, and of like passions just as you are. So I don't need you to do that. That is unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? If you want to honor and reverence me, do that by being in subjection to the rules of this house. That is it. That's all you need to do. I don't need you to do nothing else other than that. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I mention that is because we talked about this before. That bowing down on the knee, giving a ring, that's for Diana. You could probably take that for Venus. You could probably take that back to Egypt, to some old bald-headed hoe that they had going on then. So are you sinning if you get down on the knee and propose? No. You're a damn fool, but no, you haven't committed a sin. You know what I'm saying? And why are you a damn fool? Because you're participating in practices and customs that you don't even know where they originate from. You're doing it because you're following around what other people are doing. And if you allow people to convince you that this is normal protocol, you know what I'm saying? And everything that they do is not normal protocol, because you have to have the confidence and the ability to be odd. That's why I mentioned that. Because if you go in front of the world and say, I'm not getting on a knee and proposing to a woman, you're going to seem odd to these people. Why won't you do that? Why won't you get a wedding ring? And I'm just using these things on a small scale because they really are grossly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. But people will think that you are odd. Lady hit us up yesterday, say, can you do this job for us tomorrow? I say, sure, no problem. She said, we need you to come in about 5. Oh, I can't do that. I keep it Sabbath, I can't do that. She said, well, how about, I said, we could slide through by 3. She said, that's even better. She said, we just wanted you to be there when the other trades were gone. So you could do your job. We came actually an hour early. But I knew for her, she didn't have no problem with it, but I knew it was odd because she's not the first customer that we've had to tell that, oh, we don't do that. And some people, they don't say nothing, but you could tell that that's odd to them because most people don't do it, especially not turning down no money. Oh, no, I come through Sunday. And I haven't had a problem with one customer. I had a dude, he was pretty sad when we first got in the business because I told him we wouldn't do it. He was sad. You know what I'm saying? He said, I really needed you, man. I feel you. I can't do it, though. You know what I'm saying? Because it's non-negotiable. That's not going to happen. But that's odd. I guarantee you, some of your people, the women, they look at you. You're odd. You're not painting yourself up like a clown. You know what I'm saying? You don't have all this jewelry on your body. You shouldn't be out here looking like no whore, showing your buns. You know what I'm saying? Your vaginal entries or cleavage. You don't wear pants. They look at you odd. You're not like me. And some people that makes them a little nervous. That takes us back to that word being ambivalent or double opinion, because you want acceptance from these people. I don't want acceptance from people that Yahuwah rejects. Why would I want to be accepted by people Yahuwah rejects? I don't desire or need your acceptance. This is why he said, how can you believe when you see honor one of another and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? We talked about this in the past. Be Elohim validated. Should be worrying about Elohim accepting you. You worry about sinners accepting you for, or the world accepting you for. Why do you even care? Why do you even care? Why are you worrying about if other brews accept you? Why do you even care? You either do or you don't. I ain't gonna lose no sleep about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you like me. What is you liking me going to do for me? What is you accepting me going to do for me? It's not going to do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I have to compromise who I am in order for your acceptance. No, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. It ain't worth it. I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be ostracized than to compromise myself for acceptance. And that's how you have to feel. That's why Hebrews 13 said, let us suffer outside the gate with him. Going outside the gate with him, bearing his reproach. That's a blessing. Hosea 13, though. That's a blessing. We be trying to shun the blessing. Why? I don't understand. Why do we do it? Nobody knows. Well, we know, but you know what I mean. Hosea 13:1. So when we look at when he's made me fruitful in my affliction, spake trembling, he exalted himself in Yasharal. Remember, it said that Yahusha ate his bread with trembling and quaking, according to Ezekiel chapter 12. So when he spake trembling, he exalted himself, or he lifted himself up. And when he ended in ball, he died. You know, the biggest sin of Yasharal was idolatry. So when they hung him on the tree and they say, what furthermore need we have of his blasphemy? Because this man being a man, making himself Elohim, they say he offended in ball. So Yahusha died for your offense in ball. But let's continue. And now they sin more and more. And they have made them molten things of silver and idols according to their own understanding. That's why I mentioned that last week. When you turn around and you a woman and you get married to a man, and that book tell you that when you marry this man, y'all become one flesh. Well, it's telling you one flesh. What does it tell you in 1 Corinthians 6? He that is joined to the Lord is one ruach. That means there's one mind and one heart and one way. And that one mind, heart, and way is the way, heart, and mind of that man, not two hearts and two ways. Not your vision and his vision. It's just his. And your mind is supposed to meld into his. The same way we're supposed to do when we come into Yahusha. Your mind, that's what we already read that. See, we set that up. Read that in Ezekiel 11. I give them one mind and one heart. It's in Jeremiah 24. I give them one heart and one way to serve me. That's what it says. It's one body, one immersion, one Elohim, one faith. That's why the text points you to that when it's dealing with a man marrying a woman and then becoming one flesh, because it's one mind and it's the mind of that man. Because it's supposed to be a model of heaven. See, this society and culture has told you, I got a career, she got a career, I got a vision, she got a vision. Her vision needs to be in line with your vision. If not, you're going to have conflict because you're going to have two people pulling in two different directions, and somebody's going to have to win. Or there's going to be a schism. This is why the book said that there'll be no schisms in the body. You can't have two. That's why they say a house divided against itself is going to stand. It's not going to stand. It's going to fall. So you can't serve two masters because you're going to hate one and cleave to the other. So we don't take that into account because we're supposed to be working to fulfill this what makes a wise woman to build her house, because we're supposed to be working to fulfill the will and vision of our husband, of our master, of our Lord. What is his vision? That's why we went to Isaiah 53. We're going to get to it in a minute. If you don't know his vision, then what do you know? Then you don't know what to build. It would be impossible for her to do that. So when you look at, see, that's one of the things too, right? When I look at one of the things that we do for a living, which is construction cleaning. One of the parts about it that is nice is we're helping the individual fulfill his vision. This person had a vision of a structure in their mind. It was just a thought. And then that thought got laid out. And then pieces of that vision were given to certain trades to be able to help everyone working together to help bring that vision to pass. And then we're the last ones to come in for the completion of that vision. So how does that pertain to the word? Well, Yahuwah had a thought in his head because the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. And then that thought in his head was given to certain trades, which was the prophets and the priests of that time. And they went out there and they shared that vision. Now, that vision was not understood at that time, but yet it was shared. And we talked about that when we were looking at the carpenters and the masons who were helping to repair the breaches. So then the builder of that said house, Yahushua HaMashiach, manifests himself in the flesh, makes plain the vision. and gives it to apostles, prophets, pastors, evangelists, and teachers, that they might take that as that trade and begin the process of manifesting that vision in its totality. So when we get immersed into his death and we're made one with him, whether you're a part of those offices or not, whatever position is given you in the body, that position is given you for the purpose of fulfilling the vision of your husband. And that's how you have to see it. That's how you're a wise woman to build that house, because you're going to make sure that that house is built according to the vision. Remember what he told Moses? He said, make it according to the vision that you had in the mouth and don't deviate. So you can't get off script and go do what you want to do. And that's what he's telling you in Hosea. See, they made gods after their own understanding. See, this is what you had in your head, what you wanted to do. That's not how that works. Verse 2 again, and now they sin more and more and have made them molten images of their silver and idols according to their own understanding. All of it the work of the craftsmen. They say of them, let the men that sacrifice kiss the calves. Therefore they shall be as the morning cloud and as the early dew that pass away, and as the chaff that is driven with the whirlwind out of the floor, and as smoke out of the chimney. You already know what that is, and that's ugly. Yet I am Yahuwah your Elohim from the land of Mizraim, and you shall know no Elohim but me, for there is no Savior besides me. I did know you in the wilderness in the land of great drought. According to their pasture, so were they filled. They were filled, and their heart was exalted. Therefore they have forgotten me. See, that's what ends up happening. You got fooled. This is one of the reasons why in Proverbs 30 he said, give me food convenient for me, lest I steal and take the name of Yahuwah in vain. Or lest I become fat and I say, who is Yahuwah? Because sometimes people get filled up. That doesn't mean everybody. This is why Paul tells you, though, don't seek after riches, but seek after righteousness and things of that nature, because because riches can take a man through many hurtful sins in his pursuit into getting it, because everybody can't handle that. Because you might get fooled and say, who is Yahuwah? And some of you know you will. Deep down in your soul, you ain't gonna tell nobody, but you know, you be like, you know what? I'm glad he give me food convenient for me. Now, see, the person who spoke that in Proverbs 30, he was wise enough to know himself. So I know if I get poor, I'm gonna steal. I know if I get fat, I might forget Yahuwah. Just keep me comfortable. Just give me just what I need. See, a lot of us is why we never content. You know what I'm saying? You're not happy with having what you need. You want. Well, what did he tell you in Matthew? Might have been in Luke, could have been in Mark. Either way, you know what I'm talking about. He said these are the things that the Gentiles seek after. You worry about the wrong thing. You worry about the wrong thing. And that's what gets you off track. I mean, you can sit back and look at that, because that verse in Hosea is also what's in Ezekiel 16 about how I gave you all this stuff. So yeah, you can look at that. You know, he humbled you. What do you sit back and look at? He exalted you from the jump street. But truth be told, you were already humble. You know what I'm saying? So I can roll with you on that. You already humble you in Egypt because you were being afflicted. So then he exalted you to make you his people when he brought you out with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. And like I said in Ezekiel, he gave you the best of everything. And you went and gave it to your lovers and you forgot him. So he took it back. So you have to be careful with that. Because some people know, I don't want that money because I'm going to act a fool with it. I'm going to act a fool with it. You ain't going to know, you're going to say you're going to forget Yahuwah. You're going to forget that Yahuwah the one that gave you the ability to get the wealth in the first place. And you're going to go off to fulfilling your desires. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure. Money don't change nobody. It just amplifies what's already there. Success don't change nobody. It just amplifies what was already there. Most people don't know that a person has those attributes because they hadn't been put in a position to magnify those attributes. Most people, they have it. That's why some people, power don't corrupt men. They were corrupt before they got it. You know what I'm saying? They were corrupt before they got it. But see, nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to talk about that. People like stuff change people. Don't nothing change. Only thing change people is the word of Yahuwah. That's the only thing change a man. Anything else, it just magnifies who you are. That's it. It just magnifies who you are. It don't change nobody. That's the only thing change anybody. People like a good woman to change a man. No, she won't. A good man to change a woman. No, he won't. person change themselves. You know what I'm saying? Period. All that there, that's hogwash and foolishness to allow human beings to make themselves to feel more important in other people's existence than they really are. People change themselves because they want to. No, there's no external source that's going to change you other than the word of Yahuwah. Period. You know what I'm saying? Feel like they say that nigga done changed on a nigga, bro. Sometimes people tell you people done changed on you because they matured. Because they matured, they no longer desire to do and to be in the same places or entertain the same things. And you have to be careful for that. See, that's old stagnant, immature nigga. Nigga wants you to wallow in mire and filth with them. So they want to try to use guilt trips and manipulation to make you feel bad so you can stay in misery with them. Don't be no dummy. You have to pay attention to stuff like that. Don't be no dummy. Ain't nothing but emotional trick. You ain't finna trick me with that, nigga. You ain't finna trick me with that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna trick me with that. Oh, that nigga done changed. He think he better than a nigga. I know you think I'm better than you. I never said that, nor conduct myself that way. You think I'm better than you. And that's okay. Seek help. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah 53. I remember we used to peep that when I was in middle school and high school. You know what I'm saying? Nigga was well read, you know, so we be talking about, nigga, you think you smarter than everybody. No, you think I'm smarter than you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm smarter than you. It's not my fault that you choose to remain uneducated. You know what I'm saying? That's your problem. That's not mine. And I won't allow you to dictate that to me, that I may dumb myself down to appease your insecurities, because I will not. You know what I'm saying? I will not. Because that's what more people want you to do. They want you to appease their insecurities. I have nothing to do with that. Your insecurities are your problems. Absolutely, people will feel that way spiritually, even if you have less than them, because it's their insecurities. And I'm not responsible for your insecurities. Seek help. Go talk to the Lord and get you a therapist. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Because I'm not going to dumb myself and make myself lesser because of your manipulations and machinations, because you're not confident with yourself. That has nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? That's got to do with you. They got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Period. You have to know that and understand that. How you feel about yourself ain't got nothing to do with me, sir. Ma'am, whoever you with, they ain't got nothing to do with me. That's your problem. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not finna change up nothing to make you feel better about yourself. You know what I'm saying? You need to make yourself feel better about yourself. If you don't know something, stop being scared and take the time and go learn some new things, nigga. You know what I'm saying? He's sitting back looking at you, he think he better than us. What? What type of grown man's talk like that? That's whole talk. You know what I'm saying? Grown man talk like that. Niggas do it every day though, sad part. I ain't never uttered them words in my life. That nigga think he better than me. He think he's smart. Nigga, what? Come on, bro. That don't even sound right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have gifts and talents and abilities uniquely their own. You know what I'm saying? If you focus more so on what it is that you do well and who you are, then you wouldn't be concerned about what somebody else knows or don't know, or what somebody else does or doesn't do, because you'd be too busy focusing on yourself and being a better version of yourself and adding value to everyone you come across, that you wouldn't be concerned about nobody else. See, that's what the scribes and Pharisees' problem was. They so worried about Yahushua ain't this and Yahushua ain't that. They was sitting back, he wasn't concerned with them. He was being the best son of Elohim that he could possibly be and adding value to every person he came across, to be concerned, to be worried about what them cornball niggas was doing. All they doing is sitting around wondering what he doing. Kind of junk is that? Isaiah 53:1. Who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form nor comeliness, and we shall see him. There's no beauty that we should desire him. Now, we didn't talk about this before. People go around and tell you, see, that mean the Lord was ugly. No, sir. When you look at comeliness in this verse, it is hadar. That means there was no honor or majesty. So it was not referring to his visage. So when you say he shall grow up before him as a tender plant and a root out of a dry ground, he have no honor, no esteem. Why didn't he have any honor? Because the reproaches of them that reproach you fell on me, and reproach is a dishonor and a shame. That's why he say a root out of a dry ground, because he was in the grave, in the pit where there was no water. And he said, we shall see him. There's no beauty in him that we should desire him. And when it says beauty, it is referred, the word is mare, and it is sight, appearance, or vision. So when they saw him, they did not desire him because they couldn't see the vision. They couldn't see the word. They could not see that he was the son of Elohim when he was up there on that stage. That's why he say, who is the arm of you who will reveal and who will believe the report? So because they don't hear the word, they don't believe the word, therefore they don't see any vision that they would desire him. That's why I say you won't come to me, that you might have life. Has absolutely nothing to do with his physical appearance. Now, this is another example of when brothers say that you should know what the book says and the language is written in, then you could, that's a strong point for them when they say that. Because you got Brews running around here teaching people that the Lord was ugly. And that verse is not telling you that. That verse is telling you that they did not see him as an honorable man. They did not see the esteem. What did he pray for in John 17? Give me the esteem that I had with you before the world was. Then people didn't see that esteem on that man, not especially when he's crucified in weakness. How would they see majesty, splendor, and honor in that? This man is being impaled on a tree. Where I see honor in that at? I don't see no vision, no sight, no appearance, or no Elohim, or no word that I'm going to desire to cleave to him. He's hung on a tree. Stuff very, very simple. Come on back to Ezekiel 40. Because why do we look at all that? To take us back to Ezekiel 40 and 36 and those things that we were talking about in 39, in regards to them offerings. Everything that we looked at before getting all that, every one of them scripts that we grabbed, all them points was to take us right back to them offerings. That sin offering, that burnt offering, that trespass offering. Before we go to talking about Zadok. And I'm going to give you those sentences one more time, real quick, like, and then we'll get to grabbing with Zadok. So when we look at burnt offering, remember that was Olah, i.e. Lamad and Hay. So what is that? That you know the teachings of Yahushua. Remember Matthew 20, we mentioned that though. Furnace of affliction. Can you be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with? That sin offering, that katah, that ka, that tet, that olive, and that tau. I forgot what I used for tet, so let me grab that real quick. So when we looked at tet, what did I use for tet? Generosity, that grace. So when we looked at that, the separation of grace or the strength of the covenant of grace separates. Well, what is the strength of the covenant of grace? It is your faith. That's why it's a sin offering, because what is generosity? Remember, say Yahuwah is full of goodness and truth. He generously gives. This is why Paul wrote in his, and it says this in Psalms 112, that as well, correlating with that, the Elohim loves a cheerful giver. This is why Yahushua said in the book of the Acts of the Apostles that it's more blessed to give than it is to receive, because Yahuwah doesn't receive anything from men, but he gives unto men. This means I didn't ask you for no sacrifices. So when you look at that, it's just an embodiment of Elohim. That's why he gave gifts to his wife. But when she got full, she got haughty, and that's why he took all that stuff. This is why when you're reading the text, this is why women have certain things that they cannot do, because they got lifted up with pride. That's why I say, nah, don't worry about that. Stop putting up, you paint your face up, now all your lovers gonna hate you. You don't need none of this stuff, because you get vain and full of pride. So let me abase you. You know what I'm saying? But you come in this modern time, niggas simping. Oh, people used to do this here. Nigga, you missed the point of why he took it. It's not the issue of the gold. It's not the issue of the makeup. It's not the issue of any of that crap. It's what it do to your heart and to your spirit. It pollutes it because you get lifted up. So you say, you know what? To save you from yourself, I'm going to take it. We don't have enough wisdom and understanding to see that. And I see too many brews too weak to do that. Niggas who preaching the word, your wife got a hair hat on. You put a tell, who if you don't get that junk up out your head, you get up out my house. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nowhere in the world I'm going to be a servant of you who my wife got weave in her head. Nigga, how? How can I, if I can't even convince my woman to wear her natural hair, how can I convince a man not to commit sin? You got to be retarded. Walking around here with some donkey hair in your head, you a man of God. How is that possible? Explain it. You can't even convince this woman to wear her hair. Well, I know you can't convince me in no gospel. I know you can't. You can't. This woman got weave in her head, cuz. You say you a servant of Yahuwah, your wife got weave in her head, my nigga. Come on, cuz. I ain't even mad at dudes if they women wear makeup and jewelry, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Some niggas they ain't on that. That's their business. Weave though, cuz. Weave. This whole got on a wig, my nigga. A lace front. A lace front, my nigga. A lace front. But she talking about she a daughter of Yahuwah. Well, where? In what millennium? In what dispensation of time? Is a daughter of Yahuwah got on a football helmet? This whole got synthetic lashes. Hoe, you gonna bat your eyes and fly away. You got all this added stuff on, man. You ain't impressed with none of that junk. You look like a fool. A plumb fool. You know what I'm talking about? How's you peculiar looking like a tranny? Because that's all these hoes out here look like is trannies. That's a crying shame, too. That dude got to sit back and look at, I don't know if that's a tranny or not. And you women ain't got enough sense to know that we should go back to looking like women. Then niggas wouldn't have no problem pointing out no tranny. Because this nigga gonna stand out. Nigga, your hair don't grow that long because you a man. Nigga, that junk ain't cute. Well, we already know that junk. Nigga, these hoes do that junk to impress each other. No nigga impressed by no hoe with no lashes on her eyes. Niggas think that junk looks stupid. Nigga just want to hit, so he don't care what you got on. Nigga, if you know these bad body sloppy hoes getting knocked down and getting pregnant, then you know full well a nigga don't care. That nigga don't care what you got on. He don't care what your hair look like. He don't care with none of that junk. He trying to smash. That's it. Niggas don't care nothing about none of that. The only time dudes start caring about stuff when they choosing a wife. And it definitely ain't going to have none of your physical appearance. It's definitely not going to be the number one thing. It's not going to be the number one thing. It's going to be who you are as a woman, your characteristics, your character. Your character. Are you supportive? Are you a nurturer? Do you work? And we talking about work, not necessarily working out the house. Can you help me fulfill what I'm working towards? Are you a nurturer? What you gonna do with maturing? That's what dudes concerned with. Dudes ain't concerned with no snatch because they can get that from anywhere. Not when it comes to choosing a wife, they don't care nothing about none of that. If he know himself as a man, he's gonna be real deliberate. It's gonna be certain things that they desire. Is she quiet? Is she argumentative? Because dude, nobody want to be married to that. Only time dudes get married to that because they immature, so they're not paying attention. They don't know themselves, so they don't know what they want. And not even say know what they want. They don't know what they deserve. So therefore, they don't value themselves. So therefore, they're not going to pick or recognize a woman of value. Their mind's not on that. Because they ain't been taught better. That's why I was telling you when the brother say, hey, man, you shouldn't get married and have children till you're 35. In this culture, he was referring to people who were not taught any better. Because you don't start to figure, in his opinion, you don't start to figure yourself as a man until you hit 35. Coming up in this culture and you ain't had no older man to teach you no better. It's different if you had a man that'll teach you, son. Then you know you may not make those mistakes unless you're just a pain freak. Some people pain freaks. You know what I'm saying? They like to do things the hard way and make their life more difficult. You know, that's another thing too, man. Life was not meant to be difficult. What I mean by that, Yahuwah set it up to where your ancestors would inherit a land that they did not till, and dwell in houses that they did not build, so they could give that to their children, so that their children would not have to deal with what their forefathers dealt with in Egypt. Now, remember, we were talking about that last week, dealing with adversity and show forth your character and this, that, then, and the third. But your life not supposed to be a struggle. If you have to struggle, that means your parents failed you. They didn't do their job. You're not supposed to become an adult and struggle. That's failure as a parent. Don't let these niggas convince you into that crap that that's a normal course of life, because it's not. The same way that people convince you that when you get married or you get with a woman that you just gonna argue and fight. No, that's not normal. That's not how things are supposed to be. That's not how things are supposed to be. Your marriage is supposed to be peaceful. Your interaction with your woman is supposed to be peaceful. Your life is not supposed to be hard where you have to fight, scratch, and claw. That's not normal. And we have adopted that to make ourselves feel like it's normal. And it's not. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed to be. It leads to undue stress. It leads to insecurities. It leads to all manner of things that have debilitating effects on the human mind that people are just realizing have affected them adversely throughout the course of their physical existence. And now, therefore, they're trying to reverse all of that didn't happen to them because their life was made hard. Now, of course, Yahuwah made our life hard as a people as a whole. But I want y'all to think on a microcosmic level. Why do you feel like you should struggle? Why do you look down on people whose lives were not hard? Because their people had the foresight to set their children up to where their lives wouldn't be hard. Why do black people look down on that? You mad because his people had foresight? You mad at him because his people had foresight? No, you ain't mad at your people. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't take the time to plan your life out properly. Because they didn't take the time to make better decisions before they produce you. Be mad with them. Don't be mad at him because his people did. No, don't be mad at them because they people did. That's why we be talking about that time to time. Man, stop doing stupid stuff, man. Your kids' future is depending on you and the decisions that you make. Don't go for this crap. You just get them up to a point and send them off to these white folks' colleges and son, figure it out. That is irresponsible, selfish, and negligent. You know what I'm saying? Period. Ain't no way around that. You ain't supposed to set them up, fight and struggle like I did, son. It'll make a man out of you. You selfish bastard. When we just read out the book of Proverbs, a just man leave an inheritance to his sons. So if Yahuwah saw fit to leave an inheritance to Yahusha, and Yahusha saw fit to leave an inheritance to you, then why don't you see fit to be your son to leave to your son where his life would be a lot smoother? So he ain't got to go through what you went through. So he ain't got to do what you did. Oh, you don't care about that because you don't care about your son. You care about yourself. And that was what Dame Dash's point was when he was on the Breakfast Club 3-4 years ago. You niggas talk all that trash. You don't care about your children. You care about yourself. And you trying to convince yourself that you do. Because you're not willing to sacrifice and do the things necessary that his life is easier. Don't sit here and be talking about them white folks do this and do that, and you ain't got no job to get in your son. He can turn around and get in his friends, and he got to get on the knee and beg these same people you talk trash about all day long for a job. Nigga, you's a selfish bastard. You know what I'm saying? Period. Don't cry about them people not giving him something when you have the ability and power in your hand to create something and give him his own job. Don't cry about your woman working on these white folks' jobs when you have the ability to craft a business and give her a job so she ain't got to answer to nobody else. So don't cry about it. Don't talk no trash about it because you can do it. You don't want to do it. See, praise be. And this the mind of Yahuwah because that's what he did. He didn't set his wife up to go work for another God. Work for me. My wife worked for me. What you mean? Nevertheless, man, Ezekiel 40, I didn't do trespass offering. Excuse me. Asham. And that's Aleph, Shan, and me. And that's the, strength. Consumed by the strength of the blood. However you want to look at it. We get consumed by that blood. But nevertheless, let's swing back to verse 45. But I meant what I said, every word of it. I don't really care who don't like it. But take it up with the Lord. I know most of you sit back and look. Imagine how much easier your life would have been if your people would have had foresight. I know mine would have been a lot easier. See, the difference is I don't walk around like I'm talking about. I don't walk around and being mad. I just say, hey, my people did what they had available to them at the time. Maybe they didn't know no better. Because I knew at the time period I ain't know no better. So I can't be mad with them. But as the old cliche saying go, when you know better, you do better. We know better, so do better. Ezekiel 40 and 44. We pick it 44. And without the inner gate were the chambers of the singers in the inner court, which was at the side of the north gate, and their prospect was towards the south, one at the side of the east gate, having a prospect towards the north. And he said unto me, the chamber whose prospect is toward the south is for the priests, the keepers of the charge of the house. I don't say another reason. That's why I ain't never had no children. Because I knew I wasn't going to have them set up straight. So why bring them in the world? Why let my woman, because one, I wasn't going to get a woman pregnant and not marry her. If I didn't see fit for her to be my wife, why would I see fit for her to be the mother of my children? And why would I want the mother of my children to struggle? Didn't make sense to me. I'm looking for keepers, excuse me. So you know the word keepers there is shamar. So they're the keepers of the charge. That word charge is the function or the service. They watch for the house. They preserve the house. That word is mishmareth. Meme, Shan, Meme, Rosh, Tau. So when we look at that and we see how the blood pairs to the Ruach of the highest, or the Ruach of Yahusha, or the Ruach of Yahuwah's covenant. So look at, right, they're the keepers of the charge of the house. The people who guard, because remember Shamar, is dealing with Shamar, which is to hear, with the intent to do. I'll give you the characters for Shamar, just on general principle. You should know Shan, Meme, and Rosh. You know, to keep, desire, to give heed. So the people, remember, right, you're supposed to get it. 1 Peter chapter 2. Let's just grab that. 1 Peter chapter 2. Because we're going to tie this in multiple different ways. 1 Peter chapter 2, right? Verse 4. He said, you also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house, a Kadash priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua HaMashiach. Remember, I mentioned that briefly the other day. The table used for sacred works, for the trespass offering, sin offering, burnt offering. Well, you're offering up spiritual sacrifices on that table built up as this house. You're the keeper of the house because you're this Kadash priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim. Let's get Romans 12 and 1 on general principle. Because I really want to read verse 2. And we could have recited it, but it's not going to hurt nothing to read it. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, Kadash, acceptable unto Elohim, which is your reasonable service. Remember, acceptable. Because remember, what Cain brought was unacceptable. Because he didn't bring that tenth. Remember, we read about that tenth, and when the tenth shed its leaves, it'll manifest the Kadash seed. That substance will remain there because you're a keeper of the house. I didn't finish John chapter 10, but I'm finna go grab that in a moment. It's the only thing we didn't grab. He's the keeper of the house. So if you're a Kadash priesthood, offering up spiritual sacrifices and offering yourself as a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service. So you sacrifice your desires and wants. Remember, because we read this the other day, that you may cease from sin, that you might do the will of Elohim and not be to the will of men. You're going to be willing to make yourself peculiar. You're going to be willing to make yourself odd. You're going to be willing to forsake your own understanding and your own vision and your own way for the vision, understanding, and way of your husband. This is how you build up that spiritual house. You cannot build up a spiritual house doing contrary to the owner of the house. You can't do that. You can't do that and be contrary to the head of the house. But what does this society and culture teach you to do? To disregard the man. See, I noticed this before I got in the word, that the black woman is considered to be the head of the household. The black man has been marginalized and pushed out the way. So no one respects his authority. No one respects what he says. The only way that they're going to respect what he says, which is natural, especially for women, is if he has power, authority, or money. Which is why dudes are so overly concerned with attaining those things, mainly power and money. You know what I'm saying? Because then they know that this woman will have no choice but to respect him. You know what I'm saying? And it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I've been in situations where I've been out there with black women, men and women out there. Police go straight past the women, straight to the men. They're not concerned with that. Why do they do that? To cause a thought process into that woman's head. But we already know this. And I'll tell you again, men are better than women. And it's not anything of a negative fashion. It's because that's what Yahuwah created. He created the man first. And he created the man to lead, nurture, and guide. By proxy, he is better than this woman because he is the head of that household. Does not mean, and if you're head of the household, then you know that just because I'm better than you, remember what it says in Kings, that if you treat them like a servant, then they will serve you forever. If you serve them, they will serve you forever. So it doesn't mean because you have rulership and dominion that you act like a douchebag. You know what I'm saying? You don't have license to do that because Yahuwah is better than us. Remember what he told Joseph, only in throne am I greater than you. He said, you know, my father is who is greater than me. You know what I'm saying? He's understanding that. He's greater than me in power and authority. But yet me and my Abba are one. Yahushua is greater than us in power and authority. But he said, let them be one with me as I am with you. Well, you're greater than a woman in power and authority. He said, yet to be joined to your wife and you be one flesh. So this is wisdom. Have common sense. But see, what has the world told you, specifically in this society, that the woman is better than you, and you believed it. And you believed it. So now you've allowed her to lead you and guide you to your own destruction. To your own destruction. You know what I'm saying? To your own destruction. Because you believe that a woman is better than you. Remember when I asked y'all that? Who mature faster, men or women? And y'all actually really believe that women mature faster than men? And I'm like, how did you believe that? Why did you believe that? Who told you that? Who told you that? Society told you that over and over again to the point you believed it. You didn't have any data to back that up. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have anything to back that up. We didn't even allow reason and logic and common sense to tell us that that is pure unadulterated folly. Pure unadulterated folly. You know what I'm saying? How can the one that is led be more mature than the leader? Yet women demand men must lead them and be a man, yet you're more mature than me. That's oxymoronic. That makes no sense. No sense. So we see how we live in a backwards world that causes you to think backwards and you raise backwards children. So therefore you fall in line with the concepts and precepts and doctrines of men and not the concepts, precepts, and doctrines of Elohim. That's why he told you to dwell with your wife according to knowledge as with the weaker vessel. Because he know you're greater than her. So if you know that you're greater than her, then you handle her with care. Yahuwah know he greater than us. Yahushua know he greater than us. So he handles us with care. But what you look at as being handled with care, you would be offended. Because when he handles you with care, it doesn't mean that he's not going to rebuke you. It doesn't mean that he's not going to correct you. It doesn't mean that he's not going to hold you accountable. But those things will offend a woman. And when I say woman, not just a natural woman. It offends them. Because you don't want to hear that. Because you move by your emotions. So now your feelings hurt. Not because your feelings hurt. You want to add sin to sin. And you want to rebel. And then blame your master for your rebellion. That's what people do when they walk away from the word. Don't let them fool you. Verse 2 though, and be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that acceptable and perfect will of Elohim. That's all you got to do. Convert, change your mind. You'll prove what that acceptable and perfect will of Elohim is. But we don't want to do that. So we don't want to be keepers of that house. Let's go back to Ezekiel 4. We're in verse 46. We'll start a little bit with Zadok. Y'all willing, we'll slide the rest of it in on tomorrow, and we'll complete the last 4 verses of this chapter. And you who are willing, we'll pick up in the 41st chapter next week. And said, the chamber whose prospect is towards the north is for the priests, the keepers of the charge of the altar. These are the sons of Zadok among the sons of Levi, which come near to Yahuwah to minister unto him. So let's look at the name of Zadok. Excuse me. We'll get altar in a second. Matter of fact, let's just get altar now. I think I mentioned that the other day. It's Mitzbach. Mim, Zayin, Bat, Kad. So we see the fruit. The fruit of the sons, Ruach separates. That's what's on that altar. That's why you got to offer yourself as a living sacrifices. And we are spiritual priesthood, offering spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua HaMashiach. So you have to sit back and look at that. What are the fruit? Say the seed fall into the ground, it abide alone. But if it die, bring forth more fruit. And that you're going to have to die to yourself. Remember we read that last week in that Luke 9? You're going to have to take up that stake and follow him daily. You're going to have to deny yourself. You're going to have to sacrifice yourself every single solitary day. See, but the problem is with most people, you overthink it. You worry about if I could just deny myself for 6 months or deny myself till January. Man, he told you, man, just worry about today. Till tomorrow is sufficient of the evil thereof. Your life ain't but a vapor. You don't know if you're going to see the next 30 minutes. You worry about 6 months from now. You know what I'm saying? Just get through the one day that you in denying yourself and praise Yahuwah for that. And if Yahuwah allow you to live another day, then endure the state and deny yourself for that day and praise Yahuwah for that. And maintain to the faith that you can speak the same way as Paul did upon his decease, that I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. A crown is laid up for me. It's that simple. Just deal with the day that you in. Deal with the temptations of that day. Don't be worried about the temptations of the next day. Because the next day you ain't seen it yet. And one guarantee in life is there are no guarantees. Because you have no idea what the next day is going to bring. So all you need to do is be concerned with the day that you're in. And get through that one. And string up a good report of faith until the day of your decease so that your name may be remembered in heaven. That's all you got to do. Zadok. It means righteous. Means righteous. You got Sod, Dalit, U, and Kuf. You know, if any of y'all want to shoot yourself something, by all means. You know what I'm saying? I got one, but you know, I'd like to see what some of y'all got. I'll give you a moment. I'll give you a moment. I still need to hit the store, get a new chain. My other chain pop. I still got my piece. I just got to get another chain for it. I had it in my head the other day. I was going to stop by there. Didn't do it. Y'all will in one day. You can grab 2 Samuel chapter 8. Verse 13. Well, I'll tell you what I came up with because ain't nobody typing that. But the way of the sacrifice secures light. Remember, Zadok name means righteous. You righteous in the eyesight of Yahuwah? You best believe you know the way of Yahushua to grab you some light or grab you some life whole time. 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 13. David got him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt. Being 18,000 men, he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and they of Edom became David's servants. And Yahuwah preserved David whithersoever he went. David reigned over all Yasharal, and David executed justice unto all his people. Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host. Jehoshaphat, the son of Elihu, was recorder, and Zadok, the son of Ahitub, and Amalek, the son of Abiathar, was the priest, and Sarah was the scribe. So we see that Zadok is a priest of David. He's one of the priests of David. So again, we'll continue. Move over to 15, chapter 15. I'm picking up about verse 19. Again, we're just going to go through a little history lesson. Familiarize yourself with Zadok. Keep that in mind that Zadok means the righteous. Sod, Dalet, U, and Kuf. And we look at that as the way of the sacrifice secures life. So just keep that in mind. As y'all willing, we'll delve a little bit more into Zadok on the morrow and into his sons. Second Samuel chapter 15, verse 19. Then said the king to Ittai the Gittite, wherefore go you also with us? Return to your place and abide with the king, for you are a stranger and also an exile. Whereas you come but yesterday, should I this day make you go up and down with us, seeing I go whither I may return you, take back your brethren, mercy and truth be with you. Ittai answered the king and said, as Yahuwah liveth, as my lord the king lived, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will your servant be. David said to Ittai, go pass over. Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook of Kidron, and all the people passed over towards the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also, and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of Elohim. They set down the ark of Elohim, and Abiathar went up, and all the people had done, passing out the city. The king said unto Zadok, carry back the ark of Elohim into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of Yahuwah, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. Notice again, we're going to go back. The king said unto the righteous, carry back the ark of Elohim into the city. And if I shall find favor in the eyes of Yahuwah, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. So let's pause. Now again, we look at favor. Let me get the word for favor. That is probably ratsoon, but let's just make sure. Never hurts to make sure. You know, praise Yahuwah, man. You know the word is good. Oh, no. The regular word for favor. Khan, grace, and acceptance. Ka and Nun, separated unto life. So I want y'all to think about that. He said, if Elohim showed me favor, then he would show me the ark of Elohim and its habitation, the place where it would dwell. So I want you to think about that, because we're looking at a wise woman building a house, and we're really looking at getting into the house or getting into the kingdom. When you understand that you receive the Ruach, you're separated unto life, because Yahuwah will show you the favor, and you will see the ark of Elohim. Job 19. Because anytime I have an opportunity to use Job 19, if you know me well enough, then you know I will use it. And I don't use it all the time. But when I have an opportunity to do so, I definitely do not hesitate. Job 19 and 22. Or 23. Job 19 and 23. He said, oh, that my words were not written. Oh, that they were printed in a book. That they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer live, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see Elohim, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. Praise be to Elohim. So sit back and look at this here, right? I know my Redeemer lives. He said, my eyes shall see him. Now, David made a sin. He said, I got to slide in the wilderness. I got to duck off. He said, if the favor of Yahuwah would be with me, I see the ark of Elohim and his habitation. So pause. The ark of Elohim ain't nothing but the ark of the covenant with what? The mercy seat with the cherubims covering it. Now, we just talked about the mercy seat not too long ago. So let's pause. Revelation 5. Revelation 5. I think I'm in the wrong verse. I might want chapter 6. I do want chapter 6. My apologies. 6 and 16. Get straight to the point. He said, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? He said, him that sit upon his throne. Why did I read that part? Because it's talking about execution of wrath. We ain't dealing with all that. He said, him that sit upon a throne. Psalms 99. I just want you to visualize. And then from Psalm 99, I guess Hebrew chapter 2. No, it's not chapter 2, it's chapter 4. I just want you to visualize. He say, hide us from him that sit upon the throne and from the face of the Lamb. Say, hide us from it. He said, he's sitting on the throne. He said that I might see the Ark of Elohim and his habitation. You know where his habitation is. Psalms 99 and 1. It says, Yahuwah reign, let the people tremble. He sit between the cherubims, let the earth be moved. Yahuwah is great in Zion, and he is high above all the people. Let them praise your great and terrible name, for it is Kadash. The king's strength also love judgment and do establish equity, and you execute judgment and righteousness in Jacob. So let's look at that. It says, he that sit between the cherubims. It says, let him that sit upon the face, hide us from him that sit upon the throne. Remember, the mercy seat is nothing but the throne of Elohim. That's all it is, the throne of Elohim. He's sitting upon the mercy seat. Hebrew chapter 4. 4 and 14, but I get 4 and 12 because we mentioned it earlier. Hebrews 4 and 12. Hebrews 4 and 12. And it says, for the word of Elohim is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing of sunder of soul and ruach and the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him whom we have to do. Seeing then that we have a great high priest and is passed into the heavens, Yahushua the son of Elohim, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. So let us come to that throne to find favor, that if we find that favor, we can see his throne and his habitation. His habitation is in Jerusalem. We looked at that last week. So when you look at this here, right, this is what David, or the beloved, is telling the righteous. If you who will find favor with me, I'll see his throne, or I'll see his face and his dwelling place. Let's go back to 2 Samuel chapter 8. Verse 26. Look at David's response. Look at his mindset. He said, but if he thus say, I have no delight in you, behold, here am I. Let him do to me as seemed good unto him. The king said also unto Zadok the priest, are you not a seer? Returning to the city in Shalom, you and your 2 sons with you, Amahaz your son, and Jonathan the son of Abathar. So now one of his sons are mentioned, but we'll come back and deal with him on tomorrow. But notice that what he said, are you not a seer? So not only is he a priest, but he's a prophet. Remember, Yahushua is a high priest. We can also show you that, sit back and look at the how Zadok, he is a high priest from the seed of Aaron. Remember, that's the only people who can even deal with what he's dealing with, as forth as with that Ark of the Covenant. But we'll deal with all that on tomorrow as well. But let's just keep continuing. Let me grab the word for seer. That's what I was stopping for. My bad. And that is ra'ah. We read that word before, to see, to look, to observe, to gaze. That's Rosh, Aleph, and Hay. Yahusha is the strength of the highest. Nevertheless, verse 28, see, I will tarry in the plain in the wilderness until you come to certify me. Let's look at certify. The word is nagad, to make known, to publish, to proclaim, to make known, to expound. You have Nun, you have Gamal, and you have Dalet. So the messenger brings the sacrifice of life. This is how we get certified. He say, make it known. Let's continue. Zadok, therefore, and Abathar carried the Ark of Elohim again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. And when we look at the favor of Yahuwah, by way of Yahushua, he told his apostles, tarry to Jerusalem until you be endued with power from on high. The same concepts is coming through with all this when dealing with Zadok. We see Zadok take the Ark of the Covenant, takes it back to Jerusalem, stay there. We'll grab one more point with him. Because we're going to start dealing with Absalom. And we don't want to go through all that quite yet. So we shall wait. This is a lot more. So we'll start right there for now and say hallelujah for Yahushua, because I don't want to start another point. It's already been going for a moment. And I don't like to start points and then and not be completed with them. You know, but praise be to Yahuwah forever and always in the name of his son. And let us just continually just gain wisdom, understanding, and look at the things that the word is trying to convey to us. We looked at a lot of things that pertaining to those sacrifices to get to the point that if we're going to be a spiritual priesthood and a spiritual house making sacrifices, these things have to be acceptable. And we have to look at all these things. But I did not read John chapter 10 like I said I was going to do. So let me do that. Oh, we started it, but I didn't finish it. So when we look at all of these things, making these things known, you're listening, you're observing, you're watching, you're guarding, you're holding fast to the word, and you're holding fast to the word for what purpose? Because you're a keeper of that charge. You're a keeper of that function and service. So you have a desire. Hallelujah. Indeed. So you have a desire to keep watch over this house. The house is not just about dealing with the temple. We understand that because, you know, a lot of people worrying about a third temple. Like, why are we concerned about if Gentiles build a third temple? Who cares? Who cares? That is no concern of mine because that's sinner business. You know what I'm saying? That is sinner business. That is sinner business. Yahushua never told you to be concerned with them building no temple. So what? They build another temple. You know what I'm saying? Our temple is in heaven because that is Yahuwah by Hashem Yahushua. So who cares? Let them do what they do. When you understand that the wicked are going to do what they do, then you don't concern yourself with what the wicked do because that's none of your concern. What does that have to do with me? I'm focused on the promise. Do we watch for the signs and the seasons? Absolutely, according to what the word told us to watch for. Yeah, did Paul tell you he'll sit in the throne of Elohim and declare himself to be God? Yeah, he said that. Yeah, Daniel tells you that this man is going to sit in the temple and in the palace. He tell you that, but he didn't tell you to be shaken and moved by it when you see it. You know how many years I've been hearing people, they're going to build a third temple. Who cares? These people been worshiping idols. He told you he was going to section them off and let them do it, so let them do what they do. You know what I'm saying? But what we have to understand and do is that if we're going to be the keepers of the charge of the house, understanding that, because Zadok mean righteous, it's the sons of the righteous. Because that's what it say, the sons of Zadok, the sons of the righteous. Yahusha is the righteous. You would be the sons of the righteous. Keep charge of the house. And if you're going to keep charge of the house, then you're going to keep charge of the service. And when you understand that keep in charge of the service, how do you serve your father? By yielding to his will. See, I noticed some of the stuff I mentioned earlier. That might have offended somebody. He said that the man is better than the woman. He is. If you offended by that, take that out with Yahuwah. You offended by it because you're going by the ways of the world. And you're not looking at the understanding of the construct of heaven. Adam was formed first. So if Adam was formed first, that's pointing you that Yahushua was formed first, then Eve, then Yasharal. You understand that then. When you understand that, then you understand heavenly function. And when you understand heavenly function and you dwell with your wife according to knowledge as Yahuwah and then manifested as Yahushua dwelt with you, then that wouldn't even bother you. People only bothered by that because they hate Yahuwah. But that's another conversation for another time. Because Yahushua already told you, if you hate me, you hate my Father also. I wouldn't be offended by that. You know, I'm not offended by the fact that Yahushua is greater than me. Why would I be offended by that? I'm a part of his body. How can I be a part of something and be greater than it? And be offended that what I'm a part of is greater than me? How? When I need him for sustenance, I need him for life, I need him for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. He has no need of me. You know what I'm saying? So that's not going to offend me in the least bit. But when we begin to, and when I say like this, because I don't like to say certain stuff, Euro and this, that, there, and the third, it's just a carnal mindset. That's it. It's just fleshly. I don't want to put it and say European and this, that, there, and the third stuff. Just carnal. You know what I'm saying? We've been taught fleshly things, and fleshly things puff up. Things of the Ruach humble. Because Yahuwah is humble. Yahuwah know he greater than you. He don't have to do certain things to flash that he greater than you. He's content and secure within himself. I don't have to flash that I'm greater than you. I can let you know, don't play with me. But I know I'm greater than you. So therefore, I don't have to flex myself in that fashion. So since I know that, I don't have a problem serving you. See the difference? See, if a man knows he's greater than his wife, then he's going to know that I don't have to flaunt that I'm greater than you. So I can serve you with humility and in justice and equity and compassion and mercy and righteousness. And that doesn't take away from me as a man. You know what I'm saying? Me being merciful, it doesn't take away from me as a man in the least bit. See, the problem coming at is we live in a world that wants you to compromise your masculinity by being overly emotional, by being illogical, by being whimsical, by being irrational, by not being a three-dimensional thinker and having foresight and seeing the consequences and repercussions of your actions before you make that action. Of understanding the ramifications of the things that go on around you and how they can not only adversely affect you, but adversely affect your spouse or adversely affect your progeny. Not thinking in the here and in the now, which is two-dimensional thinking. That's the thinking of a child and the way that the average woman mind functions. She can't trust you to lead if you two-dimensionally thinking as she is. So you have to develop yourself in order for you not to do so. In order for you not to do so. And this is the construct. If Yahushua acted like us, then why would we follow him? If he acted like us, why would we follow him? Ask yourself that question. If he was carnal, if he was stupid, if he was simple, if he was stiff-necked like we are, why would we follow him? What type of trust would that engender in you to say that I will yield myself to the will of this man? So when you do that, you have already acknowledged that he is greater than you. And if you acknowledge that he is your husband, and you acknowledge that Paul is an apostle of the living Elohim, and in the 5th chapter of Ephesians, that he goes in to say, I speak a great mystery as pertaining to a Mashiach and the body, and compares that to what's in Genesis, then that wouldn't offend you in the least bit. Now, it's not my fault if you chose to submit yourself to a fool. That's not my fault. That's your problem. You know what I'm saying? That's your problem. That's on you. You got to navigate that. You know what I'm saying? You can get counsel and wisdom on how to move in that, but don't get mad at you or point fingers at anybody else, because that's what you chose to join yourself to. But if you know you have a man of wisdom and you have a man of understanding, then give thanks to Yahuwah because you possess that, and honor and reverence that man accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Because all you will be doing is showing the same reverence and honor that you would be showing to Yahushua, which you will be showing to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah would be pleased because you're fulfilling his will. And if that man is a man of understanding, then he would be serving you and loving you as Mashiach loved his wife. And therefore Yahuwah would be pleased because his will is being fulfilled, which means the children are being raised in the fear and admonition of Yahuwah. See how everything works? Everything comes back to Yahuwah. And see, that's what our problem is. We want things to come back to us. Let everything come back to Yahuwah, the giver and sustainer of life, the father of all ruachs. Submit yourselves unto him and live. Nevertheless, John chapter 10, I'll stop at verse 25. He said, Yahushua answered, I told you and you believe not. The works that I do in my Abba's name, they bear witness of me. But you believe not, because you are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Abba which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Abba's hand. I and my Abba are one. What did he say? My Abba is greater than all. All you got to do is swing over here to 14 and 29. I think it's a doggone page, miss. 29. I might be in the wrong place. No, I'm not. But the verse is right here in my face, and it's escaping from the man. Oh, there it is. I know it's right there in my face. John 14, 28. He said, you heard, and now I said unto you, I go away and come again unto you. If you love me, you will rejoice, because I said I go unto my Abba, and my Abba is greater than I. He's telling you again, his father is greater than him. Where should we go? We mentioned that's in Genesis 41, Pharaoh, Joseph. Same concept. He's greater than him. The book tell you that the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the man is Mashiach, and the head of Mashiach is Elohim. So Elohim is greater than Mashiach. Mashiach is greater than the man. The man is greater than the woman. What is this for the purpose of? Leadership, authority, nurturing. Remember, bringing to maturity. You know, you hear that junk of woman can't raise no man. You absolutely right. Because if what y'all call raising a man, that's why you got so many simps in the world. And when I say simp in this vein, I mean men with female mindsets. Of course, a woman can't raise a man because she's not created to lead. That's not her purpose. That's not her function. That's not what she was created for. She was created to be an aid, a help, and a relief to the man. So we were created to be an aid and a help to our husband and a relief. How are we relief to our husband? Because he told you in Matthew 25 that he said, if you did this to the least of these, my brethren, you did it unto me. So if you came and visited me while I was in prison, or you came and fed me when I was hungry, or you came and clothed me when I was naked, then you was a relief to your husband, because you were a relief to those who were joined to him in the body. That's why the book of Proverbs say when you lend to the poor, you give to your maker. That's why Yahushua said that. All this stuff is in the script. All this stuff in the scriptures of what he's saying out of his mouth. That's how you relieve to your husband. That's how you aid. That's how you help, because you're helping fulfill his vision, which is the scriptures, which is the prophecy of Yahushua HaMashiach. And that's how every man and woman ought to look at it and do it. And then that woman, and now, of course, we done talked about this numerous times before. If your husband ain't got no vision, it's impossible for you to be an aid and a help and a relief, because you don't know what you're aiding, relieving, or helping. You know what I'm saying? But if your husband has a vision and it's clear and it's defined and you know what it is, then it's your duty to aid him, help him, and relieve him. That's your job. That's what Yahuwah created you for. He said it wasn't good for this man to be alone. I'll make a helpmeet for him, a circler, so that she can be an aid and a help and a relief to him. Then he used to serve his wife with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's not his job to be an aid and relief and a help to her. No, that's not how could. Now it's different when you're looking at Yahushua. He an aid and a help and a relief to us. You don't what I'm saying? But his aid and help and relief is not in the same vein as a woman's aid and help and relief is. So a man's aid and help and relief to his wife is not going to be in the same vein as it is to her. And that's why a man cannot function in a woman's role. Because when you put a man in a woman's role, you will find out that in that role, that woman is greater than you. Because you cannot function in her role because you were not created to function in that role. That's not your job. That's not what you were made for. You know what I'm saying? But we live in that time period. You know, you have gender confusion. You have no defined gender roles. Toss all that stuff out the window. It doesn't matter. And that's why you have folly and dysfunction and confusion. And then people come to the word and they bring that stuff with it and think that the word should yield to their folly. But the word is the word. And you're going to have to yield to the word. The word's not yielding to you. No, the word is not yielding to you. You're going to have to yield to the word. You know what I'm saying? And when we understand that, then we can understand how to build our house. And when we understand that we're building our master's house, our father's house, our husband's house, our Redeemer's house, then we'll do it with joy and we'll do it with gladness and we'll delight to serve him and rejoice every single solitary day to the day that Yahuwah see fit in his eyes that we might find favor with him and that we might see his ark or his throne and his habitation and behold his countenance forever and sing praises and esteem and honor into his name for all of eternity. So again, blessings out the house of Yahuwah, name of Yahushua. I appreciate everybody's time. Love y'all. And pray that you maintain in the faith of Yahuwah and Yahusha, that your faith stay firm, you stay firmly rooted in righteousness, goodness, and truth. Yahuwah willing will be at a spot on Chafee Road, the library on Chafee Road. Yahuwah willing will do it again, look more into Zayat, add some more elements to what we're looking at, and continue on. Y'all willing, we'll hit chapter 41. If it be Yahuwah's will, we'll finish chapter 41 in the book of Ezekiel next week and motor on down and just get a good, clear picture. Because, of course, it's going to say wise woman building a house. I know people get thrown. Yeah, we talking about, but we're not really focusing on a woman per se, on the natural sense. You know what I'm saying? Building up her house. We're looking at us being the woman or the wife of the living Elohim and building up that house, but also by the grace of Yahushua, taking a look at insight and gaining some understanding of the goodness and opportunity of everlasting rest in the house of the living Elohim, which will be in his city, New Jerusalem, that we might dwell with him, that our faith might be made stronger, that we might endure for the hope that's set before us as Yahushua did, and endure all sufferings and afflictions, that we might be counted worthy to receive that. So Yahuwah willing, till tomorrow, we'll pick it up and do it again.